Welcome to Bitcoin Technical Analysis number 5 on World Crypto Network. Today we've got Pip Foundry from pipfoundry.com, and we've got George from btc.sx, Cointelegraph, and itbit. Thanks for coming by today, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Great. So, Pip,
Thank you.
yeah, George, thanks. So, Pip, you've got some intraday charts for us. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I'd like to start. Hopefully, you can see my screen fine. I'd like to start with just a really large perspective, just a daily perspective, just to summarize the last week of what we've had. I think last week we were just beginning the rally, or we were just beginning to see the rally here at 275 on Finex. We have since pulled up and challenged 300 a bit. We haven't quite tagged it. So I want to go in intraday and see what the deal is with that. You can see there was a pretty good sized pullback, but if you just do some simple technical analysis on the size of that pullback, I'm sorry, let me find my Fibonacci tool buried in here. If you find, this is a good little trick for the average person to do, you can see the length of the pullback that we had in relation to where it is now. And, well, it's easier to see on a larger candle. But you'll see that we're above the 50% of the pullback. So we've basically, we dumped off of this support here, and then we pulled back above 50% of that dump. So on just a daily perspective, if we're looking at daily technical analysis for the candle, we would say that it's neither bullish nor bearish, and it's just a pullback. But we can go in intraday and get a better idea of kind of what's happening and why that occurred. So let's pull in. Just to an hourly, and what you'll see in this rise here is some sort of the beginnings of a harmonic pattern, most likely. The beginnings of some sort of a bat, the first half of it anyway, and so this will be the left side of it, and then hopefully, I mean, ideally, as somebody that would like to see the rally continue, I'd like to see us build another side of this bullish bat. But with that being said, I just like to show we are maintaining the support intraday, even though it is being challenged here. There's definitely some bearishness, but like I said, it's being sucked right up, and it bullishly diverges right after the fact. So we're stuck in consolidation still. It looks like it's a nice harmonic pattern, and why it pulled back was pretty funny. When we challenged this support and we hit 300, we absolutely did it in such a rush that people just decided to pull back right there to hopefully gather steam. I do hope that that's what it was. And you'll see that the top of our momentum there, right here, everything above it was just sold off very, very aggressively. And then we went into kind of a little, what you could call a negative reversal or a pullback here, and then that's where we lie. So it would be good. We did test the support. It might be good to further test it for a little while longer. I don't think we'll see another wick into this area. If we do, then it'll be a kind of an early warning sign that there may be a little bit of a failure in support. But as long as we just maintain this single wick in here, it can stay bullish, it can pull up, and we can see this rally continue. That's really all I would have on an intraday basis. I would like to see the targets at 307 challenged. We don't necessarily have to break it, but I would like to see that double top challenged before we go and have a run to prior support if we end up doing that. And we really should if we're going to keep this harmonic healthy. So that's really all I have, Theo.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pip. That was really interesting.
No, thank you.
Yeah, let's see if we form the other side of that harmonic or not.
That would be great. Yes, time will tell. There is no crystal ball.
That's right. Okay, George, tell us, what do you have today?
So I'm going to talk about a few things, mainly just continuation on the Chinese theme that we've talked about a few times, and look at the Shanghai and the health of it, and then talk about the continued outperformance of Bitcoin versus commodities, and I'll have another chart besides that. But let's start with the Shanghai. Um, what we're seeing here is that the Shanghai continues to be semi-bullish here. I see a pattern, a bottoming pattern forming. It's the same kind of pattern that happened not too long ago. If you look around July 6th, when the Shanghai got below its 200-day moving average, you had these massive stimulus packages come in from the Chinese supporting the exchange. They did that again the other day, and then you got this 4% up day just yesterday. If you see in here, you see these white candles. These candles are kind of like starting off really, really low, crashing down, and then coming up to almost the highs of the day. So what I look at when I see that pattern repeat itself twice, it's almost like a morning star pattern, 3-day pattern of really excessive bearishness followed by this explosive um, white candle showing strength, and it's kind of uncanny that both times it happened below the 200-day. It's almost like the Chinese government is looking at the technicals when they're deciding that they need to support the stock price of the market. So I'm looking here and I'm thinking to myself, we might have another bottom that's formed as a result of that. I guess we'll see today and in the prior days what that means. Twice has tried to challenge the 100-day and fallen, so that would probably be the next resistance level, which is around 4,000. The government said that, people can't really sell until 4,500. They're pretty hell bent on trying to make that happen. So let's see what kind of power they have to do that. How that affects the Bitcoin price, we will see. So far, it hasn't really meant much of anything. Next chart I'll show you is just this. Commodities versus Bitcoin, and well, really, it's not just commodities; other asset classes as well. Going back to the beginning of June, which was that time frame where we said that Bitcoin started to take off, and the Shanghai came off, Greece happened, and there was some U.S. dollar weakness. And as you can see here in this chart, Bitcoin continues to outperform just about every other asset class. So it's up, 27% since the beginning of that period, while Shanghai, oil, gold, the S&P, and the dollar is the only thing that's kind of up in that time frame. It's up about 4%, and the dollar strength is really just more of Fed talk, weak eurozone, and stuff like that. So that's not that surprising. But again, Bitcoin continues to outperform just about every other asset class, and it's been a pretty impressive run. So hoping that it continues, but right now, as Pip was saying, we need to see where we go. So that's why I have this last chart here, which I put together. It's a long-term chart, a daily, and it looks at areas of distribution and accumulation in the Bitcoin price since pretty much the beginning of the year. Um, and what's interesting here about this is since we did cross, so if you look over here, there was distribution here, and then distribution here, which is in that March time frame. And then you got this like long area where we were kind of wondering if we were going to go below that 210, 220 level, because then the thinking was you'd probably go back down to the lows. So it tried to go below it a couple of times and it couldn't fall below it. I wasn't buying there. A lot of people weren't because they were worried about what would happen if it broke through. But what that actually turned out to be, what it looked like, was stealth accumulation. And then after that period, you were finally able to get above the 50-day, which you hadn't been able to do for quite a long time, except for that false breakout that we had in March. I guess that was around the time of that Coinbase news and whatever else sentiment was happening back then. But after that happened, you got above the 50-day this time. You had these areas of consolidation that really were accumulation above the moving averages. So then you get above the 100 as well, and you tested it, and you were kind of sitting at the top there, and there was more accumulation. Then it gets above the 200-day, and you had that run up into the 320 area, and it came off, but it only came down to like this 273 level, which we've said before was the 200-day exponential moving average, and it got really good support there, and that was another pocket of accumulation. So I have this question mark in the far right corner here because I'd like to see the price get above 300 and then consolidate there and see more accumulation before I get bullish again on the price. Right now it's neutral. But what is kind of bullish for me too is that we're starting to see another crossover in the moving averages. It looks like the 50 is going to take the 200 if we continue in this range for a while. So that'll be pretty bullish as well. But my biggest concern is, and has been for quite a while, is the volume. And I don't see without some kind of big volume coming in that we're going to be able to get above 300 and break above 300. So right now, while I would like to see, as Pip said, 300 tested, or at least us to move into a range in like the 296, 297 area, I'm thinking it's going to be hard unless we get some kind of convicted buying. In other words, some volume coming in. And then once we get above that 300 level, I'd like to see it stick there for a while and get some accumulation, and then know that that's going to be the next solid support area. And then at the bottom here, I just was noting that since we've gone above these moving averages, the RSI has been in a continually bullish place, and that's really been the accumulation zone. That's been really above this 50 area in the RSI, even 55. So as long as it stays there, and you see, it not breaking below these moving averages, it's fairly bullish here. But again, the volume is concerning, and I'd like to see that come in sooner rather than later. And that's all I really have.
Okay, thanks a lot, George.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I want to thank George and Pip Foundry for coming on the show today. That was Bitcoin Technical Analysis number 5 on World Crypto Network. Please check us out next week, same time, same place, and check out the links in the description. See you next time.